Hi everyone, and welcome to our Bible study of 1 Chronicles chapter 15. I have an exclusive deal for you today. If you go to our website, you can download this PDF for free. I know. Limited time only. If you're watching this sometime in the future, like 3 years in the future, the limited time deal is probably still going on. So check the link in the description. Let's talk about when the events of 1 Chronicles chapter 15 happened. The book itself was written several hundred years after the life of King David, but it mainly records King David's reign, which would have occurred between 1055 and 1015 BC, approximately. Now, chapter 15 specifically occurs 3 months after the events that we talked about in chapter 13. You remember what happened there? Uzzah touched the ark, and God punished him by killing him. The Ark of the Covenant, that is. Let us now slide down to our key characters section. We've got David, the second king of Israel and Judah. We're going to talk about Obed-Edom. The Ark of the Covenant was stored in Obed-Edom's house for 3 months after Uzzah touched it and died. And it was kept there for 3 months, and now in this chapter we're picking up at the end of those 3 months. Zadok and Abiathar are our next two characters. These were the chiefs of the priests who oversaw the care of the Ark of the Covenant. And then finally, Michal. This is Michal the woman, Michal, David's first wife. She was actually the daughter of King Saul. Our map is going to look very similar to chapter 13 as well. Jerusalem was known as the City of David, which we'll talk about in the outline section. The Ark of the Covenant was being moved from Kiriath-Jearim to Jerusalem. You can see Kiriath-Jearim just to the west of Jerusalem, maybe 8 to 10 miles to the west. Okay, over to page number 2. Let's talk about our outline. I've got 3 sections. The first one is verses 1 through 24, preparations for the transportation of the Ark of the Covenant. After the tragedy of Uzzah, the ark was kept in the house of Obed-Edom, which was somewhere between Kiriath-Jearim and Jerusalem. Stayed there for 3 months, as we mentioned, until David decided that it was finally time to finish its journey to Jerusalem. He commanded the priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant on special poles on their shoulders. And this was actually God's prescribed way of transporting the holy items, according to Numbers chapter 7 and verse 9. It's what they had neglected to do in chapter 13. They were not to carry the ark on a wagon as they had on the occasion when Uzzah was killed. Zadok, Abiathar, and the heads of the Levitical families were supposed to consecrate themselves for this special job. That's how holy the Ark of the Covenant was. The Levites were then to appoint men to sing and to play harps and lyres and cymbals during the ark's procession. And the names of those men who were appointed for that job are listed in verses 16 through 24. The first part of the chapter, the preparations are made to do the job. In the second section, we're going to see the job completed. Verses 25 through 28, the Ark of the Covenant is brought into Jerusalem. So David invited all of the Israelites to gather for this day of celebration. The Levites took the ark from the house of Obed-Edom, and they carried it on their shoulders as they were supposed to towards Jerusalem. And all the people were rejoicing, and sacrifices were offered. And when the Ark of the Covenant finally made it to Jerusalem, it was put into a tent that David had prepared for it there. Now, the last section is only one verse. It's kind of a curious section. Verse 29, Michal despises David. When Michal saw David dancing and celebrating as the ark was being brought into Jerusalem, she, quote, despised him in her heart. Now, that's all pretty much that 1 Chronicles tells us, but 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 20 through 23 provide us with a few more details. Michal rebuked David for, quote, uncovering himself in front of the female servants during his celebration. But David told Michal that his celebration was in honor of the Lord and the Lord's ark, and so he didn't take her rebuke to heart. So that's how the chapter ends. Now go down to the bottom of page 2 for a limited time. The application of this chapter is free. If you can't do something right the first time, do it right the second time. It's a simple application, but an important one. David and the Levites failed big time when they caused Uzzah's death by ignoring God's instructions for how the ark was supposed to be transported. But they did their best to listen to God on their second attempt. You can't always go back and fix your mistakes, but you can resolve to do the right thing in the future. And luckily, we serve a God who's very patient. He gives out a lot of second chances and third chances and fourth chances. He gives us opportunities to fix our behavior and to change the things that we've done wrong in the past. If you've failed in the past, but you're still here listening to this video, reading this application, it means God is giving you another chance to do things right the second time.